Welcome to the latest episode of Tech Talks with UNC Blue Sky Innovations. I'm Giuli, an Innovation Fellow, and today I'm talking with Stephen King, our Chief Innovation Officer. Today we're talking about an interesting topic in the world of AI chatbots, constitutional AI. So my first question for you is, what is constitutional AI?
Constitutional AI is where we leverage AI to help police or maintain and manage other AI systems by building it around a constitution. So we have a series of principles and concepts that we say any change to AI must fit these principles, this constitution. So what it allows us to do is to have one AI system that's growing and learning and advancing and learning and advancing in all different ways, and as it gets more data. But as it does that, there's a second AI system that uses constitutional AI that says all of these changes that are happening, are they consistent with this constitution? And if so, then it allows those to happen. If it is not, then it removes those and goes back to its previous state. So it's really a way for a machine, for us as humans, to maintain a check and balance on AI learning systems.
What are some important points that you think should be included in the Constitution? For example, they include using non-Western perspectives as a point to be more inclusive.
So the most important thing we're going to do is, if we're going to build a constitution to have checks on the AI, we have to make sure it includes all the things that we feel are important. In the same way that you go through a constitutional process for a society, you should go through a constitutional process for your AI. And so this will include all the things that we know we've failed in technology before. So we want to make sure that we are not biased against certain ethnicities and genders and all of these different pieces to our society that we're thinking about now that we had ignored in the past. We want to make sure those are included. We want to make sure that we're inclusive in as many ways as possible. We want to make sure that we're telling the truth and that it's accurate. We want to include all these different principles, and I can't even say what they are because each one of them will be different for each company or organization, but they will also be different as society changes and as we grow and the technology grows. So we may need to add new concepts and new principles into that constitution as we learn more about how these systems grow.
Which of the two training strategies do you prefer, and what risks do you think that it poses?
So machine learning and reinforcement learning and all of these different methods are valuable. There are great uses for them in lots of different areas and lots of different industries. We have to have those. But if we have systems that are essentially making decisions on their own and advancing and growing in different ways that are outside of how we originally programmed them, then I think we need to have some type of machine check and balance on that, because we as humans can't necessarily understand all the millions of permutations to be able to keep a check on that. So I think it's not one or the other, it's actually both. It's that if we're going to do things where the AI is going to change, we need to have constitutional AI on the backside of it, keeping it in check.
Gotcha. And do you believe that language models carry an existential risk?
There's been a lot of talk about generative AI and language models and all of these different things. Whenever we create something as humans, we are imperfect, and we're going to make things that are imperfect. So sure, there are things that we need to make sure we get right. There are things that we accidentally put into code. There are things that we leave out and things, so we've got to think about those. And when we see them, we need to change them immediately. So are there problems with some of our language models? Absolutely. Can we fix them? Absolutely. And I think that's what we have to do, is we have to think of this as an iterative process, and that this is growing and changing over time. If we look at ChatGPT, they're now on version 4, working on version 5. And so I think that's really important for us to realize that where we are with AI, all of its mistakes and issues, it's at worst as it will ever be today. And those systems will only get better and better and better over time with more and more data coming in. So we have to think about this, that like, this is the lowest quality. We have to iterate and make them better, and we will see that happen.
One company that is pioneering constitutional AI is Anthropic. Their main mission is to be helpful, harmless, and honest. What else is missing today in the field?
Well, let me say I'm really thankful for Anthropic and what they're doing, and they're really leading the way. You know, constitutional AI was more theoretical previously, and so to see companies moving in this direction is really valuable and helpful to us as a society. And so I think from an industry perspective, what Anthropic is really doing is really valuable. I think as they are growing and we'll see more companies following this, that's really important. But to your kind of basic part of this question of what are the things that we're missing, I think we have to make sure that we are technologically and as business leaders, we are auditing all of these algorithms. For so long, we've accepted, oh, it's AI, and that just made the decision for me, and we just go with that decision. I don't think we're at a point where we can do that. I think we have to say, we understand what is going into that black box that people like to protect. We have to understand the inputs. where those inputs came from. We have to understand how that algorithm was created, how it's learning, how it's growing, and then how are we protecting it using constitutional, right? So yes, there are lots of things that I would want to make sure that we include as we make good AI systems. Can't name them all because each industry is going to be a little bit different. But as we grow and change, we've got to make sure that we're constantly auditing and understanding that. And so yes, making them more human, making them more empathetic, making them more accurate, making them less biased. All of those are important things we want to consider. And hopefully constitutional AI and other companies that are using that as methods can help us do that.
Thank you so much for talking to me about this exciting topic, and make sure that you're following us on socials and look out for our next Tech Talk soon.